Hello, and welcome to day 6 of our 7-day challenge on how to overcome stress by focusing on your mindset. Well, I want to talk about something a little different, and it's conditioning. Think about it. How many times have you been in the office and everybody's stressed out except that one person? Or with the holidays coming soon, you go to a family event, something goes wrong, and all these people are stressed except that one person. And what it is? Conditioning. Think about it. You have been conditioned ever since you were a little child. And really, some of the most deep-seated conditioning occurred during the time you were born till about 11 years old. One of the ancient Greek philosophers said, "Give me a child until he is 11, and I will own him." That is to say, you're like a sponge, you're absorbing everything that you experience. In that experience creates a story. And that story is what your subconscious, could be your lower self, tells you on a regular basis. Case in point, one of the stories I remember hearing most of my adult life is, or I should say most of my childhood is, I wasn't worthy. I was not good enough. Because I, like a lot of people, had a very difficult father. And he never really spoke highly of me. It was all about grades and how much money you're making and things like that. But he always created that environment to where you never felt worthy. So that's part of my conditioning, that I'm used to getting bad results. So when something stressful happens, I always think of the negative rather than flipping the script and thinking about the positive on how I can get through it. The opportunity that exists around the corner, because stress really moves you out of your comfort zone to where you can uncover and discover new ways to handle the situation. So I'd really challenge you is that you kind of reflect on the stress that you've had maybe for the last week or so, or just for this COVID period, and try to identify the stories that you're telling yourself. Because we know there's a trigger that causes stress. But once that trigger occurs, something pops up, and what pops up is a story. And the more you tell yourself that story, the more you will live it out. And what I like to say is the mind is really like a computer. The more and more stories you tell yourself about a particular situation becomes a program. It's sort of like a deep groove that is in your mind that will take decades to heal. I know I saw on social media something that really caught my attention, is that you spend your childhood being conditioned by the world, and you spend your adulthood deconditioning yourself from all of that. Think about that for a moment. That your childhood is, you're so influenced by those around you. Because you're a child, you really can't make certain decisions on your own. You really, you kind of think back, for myself who went to parochial school, I was told what I had to wear, how I had to have my hair at home. My parents told me when I needed to do my homework, when I needed to go to bed, which people to associate with, which ones not to associate with. That really, you're getting all these stories crammed in your mind. And then as you get older and you encounter that experience, you go back to the story that creates an emotion, a feeling, a reaction. And that's how automatic it is. So when you think about stress and how you've been stressed out and the stressors in your life, dig a little deeper and try to uncover and discover the story behind it. And that's the power of mindset coaching, is that we start to de-layer the situation. We try to identify what is the trigger, what is the story, what is the trauma, and then what is the truth. So this resonates with you and you want to know a little bit more about mindset coaching, go ahead and drop me a DM and we can talk about it. I really wish you the very best as you learn how to really overcome stress by focusing on your mindset, because everything begins and ends here. Because the world is all mental. Everything you see is created from this. Everything you experience starts here. And the only way that you can live a life that is fulfilling, a life that of your dreams, of silencing the inner critic, of overcoming the trauma in the past, or better yet, healing the trauma of the past, realizing your potential, to stop going through the motions and get real tangible results, it starts with your mind. You have to find a way to decondition your mind and build your mindset on universal truths of really who you are, not what the world has said you are, or your parents, or the media, but who you really are. Because I always like to say, behind every self-sabotaging thought is a trauma, but behind that trauma is a truth. So thank you very much for following me over these last 6 days. We'll wrap up tomorrow on day 7. I wish you all the very best.